everyone. So today I want to present to you chapter 12. Chapter 12, Managing Human Resources. Let's look at the importance of managing human resources, or also known as MHR. People-oriented human resources creates superior shareholder value. As an important strategic tool, HRM achieves competitive success through people by treating employees as partners. To improve organizational performance, high-performance work practices lead to both high individual and high organizational performance. Here is the exhibit 12.1 high-performance work practices. As you see on the slide, there are some work practices. For example, self-managed teams, decentralized decision-making, open communication, and so on. Exhibit 12 Human Resources Management Process. Here's the process from external environment. Let's move on to external factors that affect the HRM process. The first is the economic effects on HRM. The global economic downturn has left what many experts believe to be an enduring mark on HRM practices worldwide. US workers have dramatically lowered their career and retirement expectations for the foreseeable future. Employee labor union. Labor union is an organization that represents workers and seeks to protect their interests through collective bargaining. Work stops, labor disputes, and negotiations between management and labor are just a few of the challenges organizations and managers face when their workforce are unionized. Now I'm going to present to you the legal environment of HRM. Affirmative action is organizational programs that enhance the status of members of protected groups. There are two current US laws that each have the potential to affect future HRM practices. The first law is Protection and Affordable Care Act, also known as PPACA, or common code the Healthcare Reform Act. The second law is Social Networking Online Protection Act, also known as SNOPER. The exhibit 12.3 Major HRM laws. First is the law or ruling on equal employment opportunity and discrimination. The next law or ruling is for compensation of benefits. And the last is law ruling on health or safety. The global HRM laws. Work culture is groups of nominated or elected employees who must be consulted when management makes decisions involving personnel. Board representatives are employees who sit on a company's board of directors and represent the interests of the firm's employees. As you see on the slide, there are 4 demographic trends in the USA from 1946 to 1994. Let's move on to human resource planning. Human resource planning ensures that the organization has the right number and kinds of capable people in the right places and at the right times. Job analysis is an assessment that defines jobs and the behaviors necessary to perform them. Job description is a written statement that describes a job. Job specification is a written statement of the minimum qualifications a person must possess to perform a given job successfully. Now is the recruitment and recruitment. First, recruitment is locating, identifying, and attracting capable applicants. Recruitment is reducing an organization's workforce. Here is the exhibit 12.4, recruiting resources. There are 5 sources of recruiting: from the internet, employee referrals, company website, colleague recruiting, and professional recruiting organizations, and their advantages and disadvantages. The exhibit 12.5, recruitment options. There are 7 options for recruitment: firing, layoffs, attrition, transfer, reduced work weeks, early retirements, or job sharing, and their description you see on the slides. Last but not least is the selection. Selection is the process of screening job applicants to ensure that the most appropriate candidates are hired. A valid selection device is characterized by a proven relationship between the selection device and some relevant criterion. A reliable selection device indicates that it measures the same thing consistently. Here you will see the exhibit 12.6, selection decision outcomes. And the next exhibit 12.7. There are in total 6 selection tools. The first is application forms, written tests, performance simulation tests, interviews, background investigations, and physical examinations. And job preview, or also known as RJP, is a preview of job that provides both positive and negative information about the job and the company.
Hello guys, I'm going to talk about providing employees with needed skills and knowledge. About the orientations, an orientation is an introduction for the new recruitment employees about the organizations, about what they have to do, the rules, the environments. Remember when before you got entered in ISB University, you also have an orientation about the rules in the school and about the school programs. Yes, it's like that. All companies have orientation. Okay, employee training. Look at these pictures. It may appear in your mind that an employee training is a training about how the mindset of the company, how the company work, and it mainly talk about the task of each employee, how they're gonna work in the organization. Generally, there are 2 types of employee training. There are general training and specific training. General training mainly talk about the communication skill, the computering skills, the programming, supervisory, and other things like that. And the specific skills focus on many high-level skills such as customer education, creativity, team building, and etc. Yes, this is the pictures that I think that it contains all the types of employee training. Okay, so we come to the retaining competent, high-performing employees. To the organizations, the performance management system is created to evaluate employees' performance because they want to know whether the staff work efficiently or not. So this part belongs to the compensation and benefit, but I will talk about right now is the skill base and the variable pay. It's like the skill base is like you work and the company reward you based on your skill, and the variable pay is mean your rewards depend on your actions. Like if you work effectively, you will have higher return. These are the the old style of the performance management system is about rate and access. It's how you're gonna report about the work rate of the employees. But I find that these pictures is too hard to see, so I found another one. Yes, this modern performance methods like it have the APO, the feedback, the parts, and many things. Talk about the benefits and the compensations. It's like this is the pictures about the level of compensation and benefit. It related to many things like to the size of a company. The companies will adjust how large are organizations. So what benefit and compensation it would bring back to the organizations, and many things like kind of business, like what industry is the job in and what is the business task to do, and what values will the organization bring to the community. Thank you for your listening.
So hello everybody. Now we'll look at some contemporary human resources issue facing today manager. The first one is downsizing, the planned elimination of jobs in an organization. It occurs when organization has too many employees or faced with many issues, economic recession, declining market share. One option for improving profit is to eliminate some employees. But how can a manager manage a downside workplace? So the exhibit 12.12 will list some way for manager to lessen the trauma for both the employee being laid off and for the survivor. The second one, which is considered as a serious issue in public and private sector organizations, sexual harassment. Any unwanted actions or activity of sexual nature that explicitly or implicitly affect an individual employment, performance, or work environment. So sexual harassment can happen between opposite sex or of the same sex. Last but not least, smart managers recognize that employees don't leave their family for a job. So in response, they offer family-friendly benefits that accommodate employee need for work-life balance. And now we've moved to the case study. Marks and Human Resources Management Challenge in China. So as you can see in the title of the case number 1, it's about the foreign companies has been faced with the human resources management challenge in China. So the first question is, what does human resources management represent? One of the major challenges faced by foreign company entering the Chinese market. So from a perspective, human resources management represents one of the major challenges faced by foreign company entering the Chinese market. Seeing the problem, which at most important is qualified manager to lead the operation in Chinese market. This is the question that whether must you the expect manager from foreign country or use a local talent manager. This come on the top of the other common problem related to human resources management in China, which all Western companies have the experience in one way or another. This issue has been known for a long time, since the beginning of Deng Open Door policy, which in 1979 opened China to foreign company direct investment. The second question is, what are the main issues expat managers generally face? Main issues that expat managers generally face are cultural conflict and language skill in complicated Chinese business environment. Chinese is one of the hardest language to learn. Even organization of banquet can be daunting experience for someone not acquainted with the local culture. Besides that, expat managers who have a soil experience of the country and speak Mandarin is such high demand that they are normally very expensive. The third one is, why don't foreign companies simply hire local staff instead of reaching out for foreign managers? So as far as my concern, I think if foreign companies simply hire local staff instead of reaching out for foreign managers, it need to train them to function in Western company. It may be very expensive and the process painfully slow, especially if the hiring is done privately bypassing the expensive. So that is the end.
And now we will continue with the case of Case 2, stop in traffic. So let me summarize this case. Ron Johnson is the CEO of J.C. Penney Company, and the employees of this company is evaluated by one of the three colors, green, yellow, and red. And now we will move to the questions of this case.
The question number 1. Many managers say that evaluating an employee's performance is one of the most difficult tasks. And why do you think they feel that way?
So supervisors are usually the level of management who are the most familiar with the employees and their work. In a situation where a supervisor may dislike an employee and the evaluation becomes a negative tool used against that employee. In contrast, if a supervisor concerned about an employee, they could show favor in the performance evaluation and doesn't provide a valid evaluation. And so this could be a difficult task for managers.
Next, what can organizations and managers do to make it an effective process?
Supervisors can ensure that employees are given fair interest and attention, let them know their criteria, and make sure there is a communication line that is two-way during the appraisal so that employees are having the side of story heard.
Question number 2. What's the impression of the color-coded system being used by JCPenney?
The color-coded system is impressive and creative. It brings employers a new way to appreciate and understand their subordinates. This project is not only easy to use but also quite equitable. The employees can evaluate their performance and it will be a motivating factor to have them develop themselves.
The last question, what could JCPenney executives done to make this process more effective?
The executives should have made employees aware of the new HR initiative and be generous with employees who were being rated. Now we move to Chapter 13, Creating and Managing Teams. Here is the outline of Chapter 13. There are 6 parts and I will present the first 2 parts, groups and group development, work group performance and satisfaction. So what is group? Group is 2 or more interacting and interdependent individuals who come together to achieve specific goals. Formal groups are work groups defined by the organization structure that have designated work assignments and tasks. Informal groups are social groups occur naturally in the workplace and tend to form around friendships and common interests. Research shows that groups develop through 5 stages: forming, slumming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And now we will go into detail of each stage. Forming stage is the first stage of group development in which people join the group and then define the group purpose, structure, and leadership. Slumming stage is the second stage of group development, characterized by intra-group conflict. Norming stage is the third stage of group development, characterized by close relationships and cohesiveness. Performing stage is the fourth stage of group development when the group is fully functional and works on group tasks. This is the last stage of development for permanent work groups. Adjourning is the final stage of group development for temporary groups during which group members are concerned with wrapping up activities rather than task performance. Why are some groups more successful than others? The answers are complex, but include some reasons such as the abilities of the group members, the size of the group, the level of conflict, and the internal pressures on members to conform to group norms. Exhibit 13.3 presents the major factors that determine group performance and satisfaction. Work groups are affected by the external conditions imposed on it. The organization strategy, authority relationship, formal rules and regulations, availability of resources, employee selection criteria, the performance management system and culture, the general physical layout of the group workspace. A group's performance potential depends a large extent on the resources each individual brings to the group. The resources include knowledge, abilities, skills, and personality traits, and they determine what members can do and how effectively they will perform in a group. Interpersonal skills, especially conflict management and resolution, collaborative problem solving, and communication consistently emerge as important for high performance by work groups. There are 5 aspects of group structure: role, norms, conformity, status system, group size, group cohesiveness, and leadership. A role refers to a behavior pattern expected of someone occupying a given position in a social unit. In a group, individuals are expected to do certain things because of their position in the group. All groups have norms, standards, or expectations that are accepted and shared by a group's members. Norms dictate things such as work hour levels, absenteeism, promptness, and the amount of socializing on the job. When an individual's opinion differs significantly from that of others in the group often exerts extended pressures on the individual to align his or her opinion to conform to others' opinion. A phenomenon known as groupthink. Groupthink seems to occur when group members hold a positive group image they want to protect, and when the group perceives a collective threat to this positive image. Status systems are an important factor in understanding groups. Status is a prestige, gradient, position, or rank within a group. Status can be a significant motivator with behavioral consequences, especially when individuals see a disparity between what they perceive their status to be and what others will see it to be. One important research finding related to group size concerns social loafing, which is a tendency for an individual to expend less effort when working collectively than working individually. Social loafing may occur because people believe others in the group aren't doing their fair share. Thus, they reduce their work efforts in an attempt to make the workload more equivalent. Cohesiveness is important because it has been found to be related to group productivity. Group cohesiveness is the degree to which group members are attracted to another and share the group's goals. Exhibit 13.5 shows group cohesiveness and productivity. Research has generally shown that highly cohesive groups are more effective than less cohesive ones. However, the relationship between cohesiveness and effectiveness is complex. A key moderating variable is the degree to which group's attitude aligns with its goals or with the goals of the organization. About the group size, small groups are faster than larger ones at completing tasks. However, for groups engaging problem solving, large groups consistently get better results than smaller ones. The next factor that determines group performance and satisfaction concerns the process that go on with a work group, such as communication, decision making, conflict management, and the like. These processes are important to understand work groups because they influence group performance and satisfaction positively or negatively. Studies show that managers have spent up to 30 hours a week in group meetings. Undoubtedly, a large portion of that time is spent formulating problems, developing solutions, and determining how to implement the solutions. It's possible for groups to be assigned any of 8 steps in the decision-making process. As shown in the slides, group decisions also have advantages and disadvantages. Exhibit 36 shows that managers can use these techniques to help groups make more creative decisions. Now we move to conflict management. Conflict is perceived incompatible differences resulting in some form of interference or opposition. The traditional view of conflict argues that conflict must be avoided, that is, in the case of problem within the group. Another view, the human relations view of conflict, argues that conflict is a natural and inevitable outcome in any group and need not to be negative but has the potential to be a positive force in contributing in a group's performance. The third and more recent view, the interactionist view of conflict, proposes that not only can conflict be a positive force in a group, but that some conflict is absolutely necessary for a group to perform effectively. The interactionist view doesn't suggest that all conflicts are good. Some conflicts, functional conflicts, are constructive and support the goals of the work group and improve its performance. Other conflicts, dysfunctional conflicts, are destructive and prevent a group from achieving its goals. Task conflict relates to the content and goals of the work. Relationships conflict focus on interpersonal relationships. Process conflict refers to how the work gets done. Research shows that relationships conflicts are almost always dysfunctional because interpersonal hostilities increase personality clashes and decrease mutual understanding, and the tasks don't get done. On the other hand, low levels of process conflict and low to moderate levels of task conflict are functional. For process conflict to be productive, it must be minimal. Exhibit 37 illustrates the challenge facing managers. When group conflict levels are too high, managers can select from 5 conflict management options: avoidance, accommodation, forcing, compromise, and collaboration.
So hello everybody, now we move to turning group into an effective team. So in this section we're going to look at work team definitions, different type of work team organization might use, and how to develop that. So work team, group who members work intensely on specific common goal using their positive synergy, individual and mutual accountability or complementary skill. And the exhibit 13.9 will show you the differences between work groups and work teams. Now we move to type of work teams. There are 4 different types of them. So the first one is problem solving team, a team from the same department or functional area that involving efforts to improve work activity or to solve specific problems. So in problem solving team, the members share information, idea on how work process and method can be improved. The second one is self-managed work team, a type of work team that operates without a manager and is responsible for complete work process or section. However, these teams are rarely given the authority to implement any of their suggested actions. Next is cross-functional team, a group team composed of individuals from various functional specialties. Last is virtual team, a type of work team that uses technology to link physically disparate members in order to achieve a common goal. However, there is a lack of normal give and take, face-to-face discussion between members of virtual team. Besides that, team are not always effective, not always achieve high performance. However, Exhibit 13.10 will list out some insight into the characteristics associated with effective team. In global organization, understanding the relationship between group performance and group member resources is more challenging because of the unique culture characteristic represented by member of global team. Group member resources in group global team managers need to clearly understand the global characteristic of group member. Group structure issue include conformity, status, social floating, and comprehensiveness. Group process multicultural global team is better able to capitalize on the diversity of ideas. So this is the drawback and the benefit of global team. Managers need to understand the social networks and social relationships in a group in group information social relationship or hinder its effectiveness. Furthermore, relationship improve team goal attainment and increase member commitment to the team. So that is the end of chapter 13. Thank you for listening.
So here we are about the case application 1 far and wide of chapter 13. First, I will have a summary for you guys. It's about the Lonely Planet and it benchmark for providing guideline books about cheap traveling. So the Lonely Planet was founded by her husband and wife Tony and Maureen Wheeler. So the first book, Across Asia on the Trip, had been sold more than 1,500 copies. So and the second books had continuing their winning streak. After the 700-page grand book hit the benchmark, the Lonely Planet had partnered with BBC News, and now BBC News or the Lonely Planet. Here's the samples of Lonely Planet. Okay, so come to the first question. What challenge would there be to creating an effective team in an organization staffed by independent contractors? And how could managers deal with these challenges? Well, I think that there is no communication between the contractors, so the contractors cannot discuss together about the work they have to do. And since their working areas is different, so maybe the work they are dealing with might not be related. So, and also there can be lack of motivation. My answer is the owners should organize meetings between the contractors for them to meet often, and moreover motivate them on their work and reward them. And to the second question, why do I think that teamwork is crucial to Lonely Planet's business model? Well, it is essential needed by Lonely Planets because they need the correlations, the unify between the contractors, the editors, and the owners, or the staff of the company, because the magazine needs to be effective and understanding the customer in order to increase their sales. The last question, using the picture 13.10, what elements of effective teams would be the most important to Lonely Planet's guidebook teams? So this is the picture 13.10. In my opinion, I think that all these characteristics is important to Lonely Planets because without each of these skills, the Lonely Planet cannot reach the state at they are right now because they have partnered with BBC News, one of the most largest newspaper in the world. So you can see that they are a very good common magazine. So they are like the ideal team for the characteristics. So I think that they cannot miss any of these characteristics. Thank you for your listening.
Hello. So now you can see on the slide is the logo of Boeing. As you know, is one of the largest airplane producers in the world. So today I want to present a case application that is relevant to the Boeing. Case application 2, 737 teaming up for takeoff. Let's move to the discussion, the question. The first question is, what type of teams do these employee teams appear to be? So these employee teams appear to be self-managing team for the following reasons. The first reason is groups of employees who work together are accountable for almost all the aspects of their tasks. The second reason is they always try and rotate all the skills they possess. They are all responsible for their outcomes and are in control of their decision-making process. And the last reason is members of self-managing teams have a tendency to cut down on costs and maintain high productivity without outside management. The second question is, as this story illustrated, sometimes it may take a long time for a team to reach its goal. As a manager, how would you motivate a team to keep on trying? So, as a manager, you should communicate in an effective, open, and honest way. Second, you should engage in all the team's tasks and problems. You should get on well with all your teammates. So, if you can do those three things, your team can easily overcome all the challenges to reach your goals. The third question is, what role do you think a team leader needs to play in this type of setting? A team leader must consider whether the group members have the opportunity to bring forward their idea or not. Therefore, a team leader needs to perform a group member satisfaction role. The last question is, using exhibit 1310, what characteristics of effective team all these teams need? The characteristic of effective teams that Boeing 737s need is unified commitment. To be detailed, commitment consists of physical and mental energy, and unity is group spirit. So, those factors can generate intense loyalty and dedication to a team, which can lead to huge successes. And in conclusion, working together, the top level management and the production line workers can make a huge contribution to increasing the output because both can get feedback immediately. So, thank you for your attention.